I think when you score 56, scoring 4 or 5 is not that hot. Maybe this is his normal operator. He's really even keel, quietly intense though. Sometimes when you describe somebody as even keel, you give the impression that he's not wired. But there isn't a spike or a valley with him. He's a very intense, quiet man. And he's really, in some ways, he's doing an incredible amount of leadership, leading in our room right now with the two big fellas out of our lineup. He's the voice up front. And he's been really strong with it. So I would agree that you could perceive him as even keel, but it would be a mistake to think that that's a casualness or there's just I don't know that he's calm in all situations. He's wired in all situations. He's very in tune to the game.
Oh, but if I could follow up, you called him one of the smartest players you've ever coached. Bob said that he's not only smart, but he can do it all for us.
Right.
So when his teammates say that, what does that say to you as a coach?
That they got a great resource in the room. So clearly they respect all aspects of the game. He kills penalties. He battles hard. He's not doing it on all physical gifts. He's not 6'4" and skate like the wind. He's very, very intelligent, very, very intense, and he can talk to everybody in the room. Sometimes you get these high-end 56-goal scorer that can't really explain how you should play because you don't have his hands, you don't have his shot. There's a disconnect between him and every other player. But with Sam, he's had to think his way around the rink his whole life. He can talk to and connect with every player in the room. He's just maximized his assets.
And on that line, does it help that you've got 3 players right now, and that 2, Lundy, and they can do anything for you? It seems like all 3 are pretty versatile.
Right.
That you could move anywhere together. And
all 3 are penalty killers. Tonight, all 3 will be power play guys. And they have experience with each other. So it doesn't matter if one of them's down low on our end. Whether it's the centerman, they've all 3 have played center, so that you can get kicked out of draws on either side. They're interchangeable on all parts of the ice. It's a great line. And it would be a continually improving line because 2 of the pieces are still young. What's the number for A2 tonight? 300.
300.
Okay, so and Lundy doesn't have that many more, except he's got 60 playoff games, but he's still a young guy. So that, as a group, they would continue to get better, I believe, and produce more.
do you look at Lundell now as a veteran?
I do.
Guy? Yeah.
It's mostly on how you can treat them. I like to think I treat all the players with respect, but you're more careful in your tone and how hard you go after a guy until they get to that veteran status where they understand it. And I would really comfortable being direct with Lundy. And he would rebound and everything would be fine the next day. He's a respected pro here now. I mean, he's come, from, I just think of the middle of the year 2 years ago, going into Edmonton and talking about his physical compete level in the game and where we were trying to get to. And he's just made huge strides in that. He's just a full-on NHL player now.
We saw Barkov on the ice before.
Yeah.
Was that the first time he's been out there since?
Correct.
And just to see him out there, obviously I know there's still, you guys
He's-
can be
yeah.
cautious, but to see him out there.
We're going to try, I would say smart instead of cautious. He's really in tune to his body. He puts a lot of time into it. He was here for a long time yesterday, just getting worked on. He'll play as soon as he says he's 100% ready. We don't feel we are behind it by any means. The length of time, we're hopeful that it would be sometime on the New York trip. It may not be, it may be, but we're quite confident that means into Finland. But these kind of injuries, you've got to get through also a week of hard skating with no relapse. So we're really happy with where it is.
Did you talk to him after?
Not after the skate, no. But talked to him yesterday. This morning. He was feeling very optimistic about where it's at.
And how happy are you? You've been able to go a couple games now. You got a couple wins under your belt.
Yeah.
And especially with Tkachuk out, too, to be able to get a couple
Those
wins.
are 2, you know what, and Thomas Nosek as well, right? Like, everybody has a role, and yes, their name's not Barkov, but that doesn't mean they're not a key piece. So it's a third of your forward group missing. And other teams have those injuries, and you have to deal with it. What I'm pleased with those guys out, we didn't like our game in Buffalo, rightfully so. I was fine with our game in Ottawa. You know, they played their butts off, and we were in their end an awful lot, so you're not winning every game. But to lose those two guys, they don't play in Buffalo, you don't like your game, and then to be able to change and take the same group in and have them play the game that we should, that's where the confidence builds. It's where the individuals start to realize how important they are, whether Barkov and Tkachuk are in our lineup or not.
Uvis told us today he hasn't played forward since he was 14. The opportunity was kind of, you needed a body, he said, I'm not going to turn down the opportunity.
Yeah.
Has he lived up to those expectations when he
Yeah. Yep. Like he ran a few. Yeah, he did. He was really good. Positionally, he was right. You know, like the guys on the one end of the bench say, we're fine. We got 3 defensemen on the ice. You know, he was really good there. I'm not trying to turn him into a forward. We're just in a situation with all the things you deal with in terms of LTIR and caps that we need a guy to play. I can play 11 and 7. But we're in a run of games here. We're in a 4 and 6 coming off. We started back in Quebec City before the season even started. So I'm mindful about running 3 lines. I thought that was a negative. I didn't think we had the same kind of energy in the Buffalo game, and I thought that was part of it. I felt disjointed on the bench with it. So I liked our energy with him there. If you can find a guy that he's going to play defense for us, that's what he is, and he's played well as a defenseman. But if you can find a guy that can pop up, and it's a little bit seamless, and actually everybody enjoys it when he's out there, right? It gives us something to chirp about. It can be a real good thing for your team.
That's kind of the story of his career. Not really traditional, coming over as a 27-year-old
Right.
rookie, makes the team out of camp when not a lot of people thought he would have.
Right.
Makes a team here, runs your power play, plays forward. He's kind of
Surprise. If you go back, and there's a couple of good websites that will give you everybody's lines and their deep pairings going into each night, and they take the injury guys out. Coming into the season, like Balinska's name's never on our roster. Even though he had played 20 games for us and he was coming back, it just, out of nowhere, Uvis Balinskis, ladies and gentlemen. You know, and that's kind of the way he's in our room. He just plays so hard, I want him to play. We were at the LA game, I think. He had a tough night. I don't care. He just played so hard, and the next game he was fantastic. Played just as hard. And the players that will fit you in our room, that will make you part of the group if you play that hard, for sure.
The Mikkola Cooley pair, you had them together a little bit last
Yeah.
year before when Montreal and I were out. They've been killing penalties together since they've been together. What do you like about the two of them together?
Oh, they feed off each other. I thought Dimitri was fantastic in Columbus. He was really good. The two of them play similar games in terms of how hard they're going to play on the puck shift after shift. Those two guys are pros. It's the difference between a kid coming into the league and now. You can get a kid to come in and play hard, but they don't sustain it through the shift, and they can't do it shift after shift, and they can't do it night after night. They haven't developed the capacity. Both of those men have developed an incredible capacity because now they practice the same way that they play. And they love playing with each other because they feed off how hard the other guy plays. You know, if you're out there and you're constantly bailing your partner out because he's not getting it done, or he's late getting to corners, and he's not boxing out, he's not doing the hard things, that can be a really frustrating thing. But when you can find a partner that'll do those hard things, it drives your intensity. You don't want to let him down. They got a nice chemistry together.
You mentioned how it builds confidence, but what's the value in learning to handle some early season adversity?
Well, it comes because when it comes again, it's not new to you. That's a big part of this. Like when you stay healthy all year, and at the wrong time, game one, or let's just go back to last year, Sam Bennett breaks his finger in the Tampa series and he misses 5 games. That's the first time you've dealt with Sam Bennett not being in your lineup. You got a problem, I think. So Barkov and Tkachuk are out, scratch and claw, doesn't have to be pretty, win some games. You don't have to go on a run. You just have to be able to play the game that you're supposed to look the way you're supposed to look. So then when the next big dog goes down in your lineup, it's no big deal. We've done it before. So the adversity takes the shock out of it when it hits you at critical times. So handling it now is very important to us.
AJ Greer got the bump up to the third line.
Yeah.
It seems to be handling it pretty well. I mean,
Yeah.
what kind of value does he bring that he's able to kind of go out there and do multiple
He's been a surprise. No, wouldn't be right. Really pleased with his training camp. His day 2 of camp was impressive of how hard he was able to push himself, because I knew he was tired and I knew he was sore. And he willed himself into a really spectacular day. And I think he's played like that. I think there's a lot to this guy's game, and it's not necessarily he's going to start scoring a lot more. He can become a hyper-consistent, very big, very fast, very physical man. Then he can play in your top 9. So it'd be the perfect example of the side benefit of a guy going down is what happens to the players that come in and get that ice time. So A.J. Greer's feeling pretty good. I think it was 16 minutes the other night maybe in Boston. And so that's a big number for him in his career. Boquist gets a little bit more and some more time. Those guys get to play more, they get to develop their game. They get to feel good about themselves. So AJ's been a benefactor of more ice time, and he's helped us win.
Coach, you mentioned Kulikov was fantastic the other night. What specifically stood out about
The pace of it. So he'll close the gap very fast, very physically. Part of the theory, if you play hard enough and fast enough, a bunch of things fall into place for you. So all of a sudden, all your passes are sharp and your decision making is good. There is the idea if you're not thinking on the ice. I don't know that I ever liked that idea. Hey, they just go, don't think, go play it. I don't think it works like that. But if you can get yourself to the right lather, a bunch of things fall into place for you. And I thought that he was wired right and closing gap and physical, and his gap was good. And then a whole bunch of other things, how he moved the puck, decisions with the puck, his stick on the penalty kill, just fell in line for him.
Any update on Matthew Tkachuk?
Yeah, it's good. Like we had other concerns about, he needed to get some tests done, and they all came back really strong. So he's going to skate, we believe, tomorrow. He's got another appointment, and we're pretty pleased with where that is.
So you said you hope for Minnesota.
Still, that hasn't changed.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll skate him. He comes back feeling good because he feels good, which is really positive. So we'll get on the ice, and we'll get 2 or 3 heavy days on him, and he'll get back in, we hope. Okay, guys.
Sergey plays tonight, guys.
Thank you.
Bobrovsky?